The brave hippo. The summer was ending, and the day little Hippo had been dreaming of finally came. He was going to school at last. The school was beautiful indeed. It was situated in a savanna close to the river, in the pleasant shade of a cluster of palm trees. Every child was to have his own little desk. The school desks were arranged in such a way that everybody could easily see the blackboard and hear the teacher, Miss Giraffe. In the morning, Hippo received a splendid school bag made of palm leaves. He went to school together with his mum for the first time in his life. Many of his classmates had already arrived. They were two cute twin zebras and an impala, the antelope, and a little gorilla. Even Donkey shuffled along, although the school was a long way from his home. Everybody respectfully kept a safe distance from the lion family, who brought their youngest kid to school as well. But the headmaster, the old and wise elephant, knew how to maintain order and safety in his presence. Even lions would think twice before roaring too loudly. More and more animals kept arriving from everywhere. Elephant, the headmaster, thanked the parents for coming in such great numbers and introduced Miss Giraffe, who presented the schedule and the regulations. The most important point in the regulations was the safety in and around the school. No one was allowed to bite or kick anyone else, and everybody would do their best to study diligently. The parents, very pleased, returned to their own work, while Orangutan, the janitor, drummed the tom-tom. It was a signal to start the class, so all the animals entered the small clearing among the palm trees. Miss Giraffe assigned the desk to each kid. Suddenly the animals were startled by a horrible noise with a loud crack at the back of the class. It was Hippo's school desk collapsing under his weight. All the little animals turned to see this and were now rolling with laughter. "You fatty, it serves you right," some were shouting. "Why did you eat so much, fatso?" Tears filled Hippo's eyes. He was so eager to have new friends, but now all the little animals were making fun of him. During the break, Hippo was too ashamed to take the sandwiches his mother made from his school bag. He watched the other children gorging on goodies and frolicking in the savannah, while he sat all alone on the ground by his broken desk. Hippo was very hungry and at the same time eager to play with others, but the scoffs and jeers made him so ashamed that he was afraid to do anything at all. He dared not utter a word, so as not to provoke anyone to make fun of him again. In the evening, when his mum was putting him to bed, he burst into tears. "I don't want to go to that awful school anymore," he said. "No one likes me, and everybody calls me fatty. I dread going back there tomorrow." Hippo's mum was very distressed by the situation and immediately told her husband what had happened during that day at school. Hippo's dad was a sailor. He had just come back from an expedition to the backwaters. He sat down by his little son and said, "Sonny, every animal is different. It's a matter of genes, and it's impossible to change that. Some are big and some are small, but the heart is what counts in life. It is the heart that determines what kind of person you are going to be when you grow up. If your heart is righteous and bold, everybody will respect you and no one will make fun of you. Be brave and go to school. Courage is when you overcome your fear, even though you feel afraid, and do what is right." They prayed together for courage for little Hippo, and he soon fell asleep. School was much the same the next day. Hippo had to sit on the ground while the other animals mocked him, but Hippo did not cry anymore. He remembered what his dad had told him about heart and courage. He made up his mind to have a bold and righteous heart. Still, it wasn't a nice feeling to hear all the nasty names being shouted at him. He felt rejected by the other animals. The mocking continued week after week. One day, a suspicious gang of troublemakers appeared around the school. Its ringleader was a young rhinoceros who never attended classes. He commanded a pack of hyenas. They would bully all the little animals on their way to class. Unfortunately, Elephant, the headmaster, was absent that day, having left on a business trip, and Orangutan, the janitor, hid somewhere, scared of the gang. Miss Giraffe was at a loss as what to do. She too was afraid of Rhino. Everybody knew that nothing and no one could stop Rhino if he went berserk. He was really unpredictable. Even the lions would flee from him. During the break, no little animal ventured to go by the watering place. Everybody was afraid. Rhino was sitting on his motorbike by the river, hurling threats that he would vandalize the school. The hyenas were running to and fro, sneering at them all. It was already afternoon, but the little animals had no idea how to return home. After the last class, Hippo decided to overcome his fear. He put on his school bag and started back home. Other little animals followed behind him, hiding for protection as if he were a shield. Once they reached the watering place, Hippo asked Rhino in a polite way to let them pass, but Rhino got mad. "Who do you think you are?" he shouted. "You think you can ramble anywhere you wish and I'll give in to you?" At once he jumped on his motorbike, heading towards Hippo. But Hippo was faster. He swiftly leapt aside just in time, and Rhino fell right into the river at the deepest place along with his motorbike. The hyenas, startled, were frightened to death. Their ringleader could not swim, and neither could they. "Help Rhino," they begged. "He can't swim. If you don't help him, he's going to drown, and his parents will sink into despair." Then Hippo jumped into the water. Soon he pulled Rhino out on the bank of the river and told the hyenas to take him back home. They meekly complied. The other animals were staring at Hippo, completely astonished. Only now did they realize that they did not know him at all and that they had underestimated him. Now they all huddled around Hippo, eager to make friends with him. Next day at school, Elephant, the headmaster, could not find enough words to praise Hippo. Handing him a special certificate for courage, he asked, "Tell us, young hero, what did it feel like? Weren't you frightened when confronting this dangerous fellow?" "I was really scared," Hippo replied. "Still, I decided to do what my dad had taught me. We can't let fear determine what we do in life. I have learned that we ought to do what is right in spite of fear. Now I see why you saved the life of this rogue," said the headmaster. "I wish all the kids in our school had such a generous and brave heart as yours." In the evening, many parents arrived at Hippo's place. Even the proud lion, who was never quick to thank anybody for anything, came to pay his respects. The animals admired Hippo's courage and his good heart. Even the old gorilla had promised to build a new, specially reinforced desk next day at school, just for Hippo, as a token of appreciation. All the animals wanted to be his friend. His size was no longer a problem.